Good morning, everyone. I'm afraid that there is a little bit of conflict with the Sudan meeting in the Security Council, but we thank Ambassador Coly Seck, President of the Human Rights Council, to be here with us for this press conference to brief the media on the recently concluded 40th regular session of the Council in Geneva and on the upcoming activities and priorities for the Council. So I leave the floor to Rolando, which will be our moderator, and thank you again, Ambassador, for being with us today on behalf of ANCA. Thank you.
How's that? Okay. Thank you again, Valerian, for all of you for coming. I'm Rolando Gomez. I'm the spokesperson for the Human Rights Council. I used to work here some years ago. I've seen some familiar faces. I was working here back in the 90s and early 2000s. I'm now with the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights. We're very pleased to have with us Ambassador Seck, who is the President of the Human Rights Council for the 13th cycle. I should note that this is a yearly mandate. It's from January to December, the President of the Council. He works within a bureau of 5 ambassadors in total. So Ambassador Coly Seck is from Senegal. We have other ambassadors who serve in the bureau from Argentina, Iceland, Croatia, and Fiji. Together they make up the Human Rights Council Bureau. I should note that this is the first time, in fact, that the President of Human Rights Council is holding an ANCA briefing, so this is somewhat of a pilot project. It's obviously important for the ambassador to engage with the media. He wanted to take this time out during his busy schedule this week to meet with you. He will go through some of the highlights of the recently concluded 40th regular session of the Council and talk a little bit about some upcoming events and his priorities. But again, he wanted to take this opportunity to meet with you. So without further ado, I will pass over to Ambassador Seck for some brief remarks, and vous pouvez poser votre question en français si vous voulez. Okay? Okay, so please.
Thank you very much, Rolando. Welcome, and thank you for having me. I'm Ambassador Coly Seck, Ambassador of Senegal to the United Nations office in Geneva, and also President of the Human Rights Council. Since January 2019, I've been in Geneva for 3 years now, and it is a pleasure to be here with you. The media are very important in helping the Human Rights Council and showing what we are doing around the world, and I have a very good relation with media in Geneva, and I hope that during this year I can also interact usually with media in Geneva. We are here in New York to interact and exchange a little bit with some senior official in the United Nations here and try to bridge this so-called gap between Geneva and New York. And also I had a very interesting meeting with the Secretary General yesterday, with Andrew Gilmore, with the Controller, with the ACABQ, and also with members of the Security Council in order to brief them on what we are doing in Geneva. And we just finished our 40th session of the Human Rights Council. It was a very fruitful session, very interesting. And we adopted 29 resolutions dealing with various thematic and country situation, like Syria, Libya, DRC, Burundi, Venezuela, very important topics. And the Human Rights Council is playing an important role in prevention, trying to sound the alarm bell in order to raise awareness of critical human rights situation around the globe. And we always want the bodies here in New York, like the Security Council and the GAE, to echo what you are doing in Geneva and try to bridge the gap and give more attention to the work of the Human Rights Council, so we can have a link between the three pillars of the United Nations: human rights, peace and security, and development. And one of our major topics right now in Geneva is to enhance the efficiency of the Human Rights Council. We adopted a presidential statement last year because we know that the Human Rights Council is doing a good job, but we can improve our work, we can improve our methods of work, our functioning. And we are liaising with the UNOC DG. We are trying to rationalize the initiatives to reduce the number of resolutions we adopt in each session. For instance, last year we adopted 40 resolutions, but this year in March we had just 29 resolutions. So we are trying to reduce the number of initiatives, to rationalize them, biannualized or triannualized resolutions, so we can have more time to discuss real human rights issues on the ground and try to find a solution. Another critical issue also is the review of the council. The review is supposed to take place between 21 and 26, and we have to, the General Assembly has to decide if the Human Rights Council will continue as a subsidiary body of the GA, or if it can become a main body of the United Nations, or something in between. And with the review, we have some very interesting question also we can tackle, like the membership, who can become member of the Human Rights Council and in which conditions. And also the agenda, members are talking about the agenda of the Human Rights Council, but this is a member-driven process, and we are trying to have an inclusive dialogue between us in order to see what will be the future of the Human Rights Council. Our next UPR session will take place in May. The UPR, Universal Periodic Review, is a very important mechanism of the Human Rights Council that allows us to scrutiny all human rights situation around the globe. All 193 members of the United Nations had their UPR in Geneva, and they are making commitment, getting recommendations from other members, and we try by that way to improve human rights situation on the ground, to exchange good practices, and try to see what we can do in each country in order to to have a better promotion of and protection of human rights of all human beings. We will have also our 45th and 42nd session in June and September, and one of my priorities this year was to put the light on the link between human rights and the SDGs and the 2030 agenda, because human rights are not only civil and political rights, we have also economics and social rights. And we had a very interesting dialogue with Amina Mohamed in March, the DSG in March, and we used that dialogue to put emphasis on the importance of economical rights and the importance of the right to development in order to tackle all human rights, civil, political, economic, and social. And we have also, we want to hold another important debate in June or September on the prevention role of the Human Rights Council. It is very important because we know that most of the conflict the Security Council is dealing with come from human rights violation in the first place, and we want to raise awareness on the necessity to do more prevention on human rights violation. Also, new issues like climate change and human rights. We want to tackle these issues in June and September. And finally, safe participation of civil society and NGOs in the work of the Security Council, because in Geneva we have a specificity. We are working with civil society, NGOs. They have a very important role in the work of the Human Rights Council, and we want to prevent any act of reprisal or intimidation not only for NGOs but for human rights defenders also, those who are working with the Human Rights Council. So broadly, these are the main elements I wanted to put forward as a matter of introduction, and I will be ready to interact with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Seck, for those remarks. Now over to you. If I could kindly ask you to introduce yourselves as I thank you very much.
Yeah, Valeria Robecco from ANSA, the Italian Newswest Service. Ambassador, my question is on Libya. Some reporters have checked that General Haftar deployed soldiers under 18 years old, so child soldiers. Dozen of them, there is the evidence that have been captured. So if this is confirmed by the UN, there is a chance that General Haftar is indicted for war crimes and crimes against humanity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that on Libya, we have to echo what has been said by the Secretary General. We need peace in Libya. We need to work together in order to have a normal situation. Naturally, those kind of crimes are unacceptable, and Libya is on the agenda of the Human Rights Council since a very long time, since 2011, and we have adopted many resolutions that have helped improve the situation on the ground, and we will keep following very closely the situation, and perhaps members will have an urgent debate or a special session. We can do it in order to have a deep look in that situation and take necessary measures to bring back peace and protect human rights violation on the ground.
Hi, my name is Shauna McGee from Kyoto News, and I'd like to ask you how you see the human rights dimension playing out on the issue of North Korea, given the political developments. Have you noticed any changes? And also, what do you make of Japan for the first time not sponsoring the human rights situation in North Korea in Geneva? Thank you.
Thank you very much. You know, all situation of human rights are important in North Korea, everywhere in the world, and we are trying to deal with all the situation without politicization, with our guiding principle of universality, impartiality, non-selectivity, objectivity, but most importantly, international dialogue and cooperation, and trying to not always naming and shaming, but trying to bring countries on board and having dialogue on issues like national implementation of all accepted recommendation on the UPR, and by that way we try to help countries improve their human rights situation. But naturally we can face some difficulties with some countries, and we are trying to work together to take care of this situation. Now every country has the right to sponsor or to not to sponsor any resolution, but you can understand that countries sometimes have their national interest, but what is important is although we can defend our national interest, we have to keep in mind our common goals, and our common goal is to promote everywhere human rights in the world.
Let me just supplement that to note that the DPRK will actually have their UPR coming up on 9 May, in fact. The reports of relation with this review will be published very soon. And of course, to the question on Japan, obviously, they will probably reflect their views in during that actual review process on the 9th of May.
Yes, I think that they are doing more because every state received more than 100 recommendations during the Universal Periodic Review, and usually you can choose those you want to implement right now, and those that are difficult and that need times in order to get a full implementation. This is the case for all countries, even my country. Sometimes we implement a recommendation, slowly, but the important thing is after 4 years, you come back saying, okay, I received 200 recommendations, I have implemented 150, but I have some difficulties on some of them, and we can find how we can help countries to implement all recommendations.
Thank you. George Baumgarten, correspondent for Jewish newspapers in North America and other media as far afield as Europe, occasionally Israel, East Africa, Kazakhstan, Georgia and Kazakhstan. The assertion has been made, Mr. President, that your council is overly concerning itself, even obsessively concerning itself with condemnatory resolutions related to Israel. And this is, of course, also directly cost you the membership and thereby the input of the United States. Would you care to comment on that, and what do you think you can do from your presidential viewpoint to try to correct this or ameliorate this? And also, it has also kept you from being concerned, getting involved with totally different human rights abusers elsewhere all over the world. Thank you, merci.
Merci. You want a response in French? You said merci. Okay. No. Thank you very much for your Thank you very much for your question. What we want in the Human Rights Council is to deal with all human rights everywhere in the world. And the agenda of the Human Rights Council has been set up by the General Assembly in 2006. And I used to say that what is important for me as president is to take care of all human rights of all persons in every corner of the globe. So for me, Agenda 7 to 8 is not important. What is important is to take care of the human rights violation on the ground and solve them. Now, it is a member-driven process, as you know, and this year, for instance, usually we had 5 resolutions on the OPT, Occupied Palestinian Territory, each session, in the agenda item 7. But this year, one of them has been tabled under agenda item 2. And this was a major development showing that we do not necessarily need to take care of the human rights situation in the OPT in the agenda item 7, but we can deal it in the other agenda. And I hope that in the coming years, this spirit of cooperation and understanding will prevail. So, but as far as the president is concerned, I can speak with delegation and encourage them to promote better cooperation. But this is, as I said, a member-driven process, and all members have to come together and understand that what we are trying to do is an ideal, and we are trying to have a common denominator on how we need to take care of freedom and liberties. But sometimes we can have differences, but this is normal because human rights is very sensitive. But we hope and we can see that we are having improvement in the Human Rights Council for better cooperation, better understanding, mutual respect, and listening to each other also. This is very important.
If I could just follow up and address a question to you, Rolando. May I assume your office can send me the exact text and background on the 2 resolutions of which you spoke, so as to contrast them, so as to give background if I want to write about this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Technically, just to note that this one resolution under item 2 speaks to the High Commissioner And item 7, as you know, speaks to the human rights situation in the OPT. So it was the first time this happened over the years. So I'll be happy to share with those resolutions with you, George, of course. Further questions, please? Yes, Ali.
Thank you. My name is Ali Barada. I am with France 24. My question is regarding the situation in Sudan. What are your concerns as a president of the Human Rights Council? And if you would please elaborate on that the former president Bashir is indicted by ICC, and the leader of the coup, the defense minister is saying that he is also indicted, but he's saying that he's not going to extradite Bashir to the ICC. So what are your concerns regarding the situation in Sudan, and especially this one? Thank you.
Thank you very much. In Sudan, what we all want is, peaceful protest is very important, and democratic transition also is very important. That are very important principle for Human Rights Council, and we hope that the situation will evolve in that they will let people protest peacefully. We echo what have been said by the high UN officials, and we will see if, as Human Rights Council, we will have a debate. We can hold urgent debate. As I said, we can hold a special session in order to put more pressure on the country and have a situation that become normal. But regarding ICC, there is usually you see the Human Rights Council can ask the Security Council to refer a situation to the ICC, but we cannot do it directly as Human Rights Council. This is up to the Security Council to do it, and that's why we are here to let everybody know that we need more cooperation between Human Rights Council and the Security Council. So what we are doing in Geneva can have echo here and result on the ground.
May I just ask you, is it the Special Rapporteur on Privacy you're referring to?
Freedom.
Okay.
I think that what we need, we have to wait and see what will happen. Obviously, Human Rights Council is interested by freedom of expression and freedom of opinion, and we hope that we will have, if there will be a fair and just trial. That's what we can say for now, and hope that the situation will evolve in a positive manner. But this is, I think, a little bit early to say because we are waiting. We don't have any information, but we hope that if trial is, that will be a fair and just trial.
Just to qualify one thing, which sometimes is a bit of a misunderstanding about the role of rapporteurs. Rapporteurs are indeed independent experts, as are commissions of inquiry, fact-finding missions. They are appointed and extended by the council and report to the council, of course, but they are independent and do not necessarily, their views are not necessarily endorsed by the council as a whole, but just wanted to qualify that. Yes, further questions, please. Yes, Oscar.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Ambassador, for this conference. I have a few questions about Venezuela, the situation in Venezuela. Do you consider the threshold of international humanitarian intervention has been met after the death of more than 500,000 people, and men, women, and children, because of the humanitarian crisis? And do you think, in your opinion, should the international community act under the R2P? And the other question is, I'm sorry, I had to read it because I have many questions and that I would like to ask. And the other one is, if the humanitarian emergency can be attended if President Guaido can request for a peacekeeping help in this humanitarian crisis. And the other one is about the accountability in Venezuela, and who's responsible.
Thank you very much. The situation, of course, in Venezuela is very critical, and the Human Rights Council is following that situation. We had resolutions in March dealing with that situation. We are following very closely what happened there. R2P, yes, the spirit of the Human Rights Council is to work in order to protect, as I said, the human rights of every person everywhere in the world, but and to ensure also accountability of those who are in power. But as I said, we have some limits in the Human Rights Council. We can raise awareness, we can ring the bell, we can take some resolution, even make a recommendation, but someone has to follow up. Some major organ of the system has to follow up on what we are doing. And I mean the Security Council. So we are not alone that's the one United Nations. We are dealing with human rights, but also we need the support of the more powerful body like the Security Council if we want to have real result on the ground.
Linda.
Thank you. Ambassador, I'd like to ask a further question about rapporteurs. We know in the West there's been some controversy over certain rapporteurs, particularly ones who, I guess it's Richard Falk, who investigates Israel. I was wondering, how long, are there term limits in terms of rapporteurs serving in these posts, and do you think it's a good idea?
Yes, we have time limit. Usually it's for 1 year, sometimes for 3 years. And after 3 years, the mandate can be extended, and sometime you can have another rapporteur, but there is a time limit.
But it can be renewed on a regular basis?
As if this Human Rights Council consider that the situation needs to be considered, there is a renewal of the mandate.
I say the mandate and the appointees are two separate matters. The mandates themselves, if they're thematic, the mandate holder can hold it up for 6 years. And the mandate itself is usually a 3-year renewable mandate, and that requires, as Ambassador says, the consensus, rather, the votes of the Human Rights Council. For country mandates, it's a 1-year renewal. However, the mandate holder can stay up to 6 years. So that's basically the way it works. Thank you. Further questions, please? Yes, George? Go.
Just a quick follow-up that I meant to include before. Is either the U.S. or Israel subject to a UPR at your forthcoming session?
Yes, U.S. will have his UPR in next year, 2020. And as I said, all countries are submitted to the UPR, and that's a very universal mechanism. And
you have no scheduled one for Israel this year?
we can check. But for US it's next year. For Israel we can check, but obviously it's in
No? Okay. Well, thank you all again very much. There are copies of the booklet in the back for those of you who have not collected it, and if you have any follow-up, please feel free to contact me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.